Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast. I am your host, Alex Harriman. This is my co-host, Jerrika and we are the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Good, good. How's your day going?
Pretty good. I have something to tell you about a dog.
Okay. I
So
have two dogs.
so now I live with a dog, and I've never in my life have lived with a dog before.
Oh,
So
really?
this is very exciting. Yeah. So now I feel like a little dog mom, and it's insane the amount of steps I take now that I live with a dog.
Are you walking the dog?
Sometimes, but even then, it's just like going outside to throw the toy and bring the dog in, this and that. Like it's constant back and forth. I never understood what it was like having a dog.
I think a kid is like a dog multiplied and then on
I'm not ready
steroids.
for that yet.
What kind of dog are we talking? Big or small?
German Shepherd Collie mix.
Oh yeah, that's an active dog for sure.
8 months, but it's going to be a big dog.
Cool. It's a lot of fun. I'm surprised that you've never had a dog. It's a lot of fun.
I am a pet animal freak, and I can't believe my mom's not. So I'm so excited about it. But yeah, it's mind blowing how busy they are.
The one thing I've noticed, because we've always had dogs, is we have two dogs right now. We have a lab, Ace. He's 13, and our husky Macy. We got her from a rescue. She's like 8. I used to take them to like dog parks and hikes all the time. And then when Emerson was born, it was like, oh man, I feel so bad because they just got so much less activity. So that's one thing that I noticed that's really hard because like you said, they require a ton of energy.
Yeah. And I'm obsessed with like training and doing tricks. And now it's just like my new obsession.
Cool.
It's
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
Right on. What topic do you have for us today?
Today, I want to talk about ways we can track progress.
Okay.
I think people
Nice.
get so caught up with maybe just the scale, and I think we should bring light to like so many other different ways that we can look at that.
Cool. I like it.
I do have a list.
Okay.
But you can obviously chime in as we go.
Let's run it like the last time we did an episode like this. So if you want to tear through your list, and I can add value where I see fit.
Perfect.
I guess do you want me just to give you the first one that comes to my mind?
Yeah.
I think it's really tough for some people to measure progress in certain ways without getting discouraged. So I would say that the one that I think is really important for everybody to do that helps with that getting discouraged is progress pictures.
I like it.
I think that's a huge one, and a lot of people refuse to take the progress pictures.
Just thinking that.
because they hate where they're at when they start their journey. But the truth, go ahead.
I say you'll be so glad you did.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, like 90 days from now, you're not going to care what those pictures looked like if your new pictures blow them out of the park.
Right.
So I tell it to everybody when they start a journey with us, you have to take progress pictures. I don't care if you share them with anybody ever, but for your own self, you need those pictures. So please go take them. Tell me once you've taken them and don't lie to me.
Yep. No, it's so true. And I think seeing it, us humans are such visual, most of us, a lot of us are visual learners, right? And seeing it firsthand in front of you, it's definitely it brings light to the situation in a whole different way.
And I was just speaking to somebody about this today, actually. So they're saying they didn't see huge change from their progress pictures 1 month to the next. And I often see this, actually. So I guess my advice would be don't take them too often.
Too often.
You're not, unless you can just use it strictly for data and not let it get to your head, in which case it's fine. But that's hard not to do.
Mm-hmm.
What I often notice, if you have somebody take progress pictures month after month after month, as they get further and further on the journey, the progress does start to get a little bit slower. But you don't notice it, say, January to February, but you will notice it January to March. And it's interesting because January and February look almost identical. But if you start comparing every other month, you see you definitely see, you're like, oh, you look at your shoulders in this comparison, look at your
Yeah.
arms in this comparison.
Small changes add up for
It
sure.
is cool. So you've seen those slides before where people do them like every week, and as the slide transitions, you see all these little changes. But it's I think it's a really important piece for people to have on their journey.
Yep. I think
Cool.
another one that kind of goes with that in a way would be like that pair of jeans. You know, your
Mm,
clothing is such a great way because it's something that we wear every day. And your clothing's such a good dictator of do I fit in those jeans I want to fit in today? Or no, okay. And 3 months from now, maybe they're loose on me. That is so motivating in many different ways. It could be a shirt or what have you, but I think that your favorite outfit is a great way to determine that.
a lot of people come to us or reach out to us, typically people reach out to us when they're like close to a breaking point, or they're really
Mhm.
frustrated, they're ready to make some change. One breaking point or point that people often get to is when their wardrobe almost doesn't fit them. So they
Mhm.
won't wait quite to the point that it doesn't fit them, but they're like, oh my god, like another pound and this isn't going to fit.
Right.
And so it's really cool, like you said, that like when they start, something is crazy tight and they know that they might have to go up to the next size, and then like seeing them be like, these are baggy, these have
Yeah, they're
never been
excited.
baggy on me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's super cool.
And with the clothes, we can just be specific and say measurements, right? That's a great way to track progress. We always kind of emphasize when we're measuring, making sure that either it's always the same person who's doing the measurements. Everyone does it a little bit different, right? Landmarks a little bit different spots. So if someone's doing them for you, make sure it's the same person, or if you're doing your own, and the same time of day, etc.
Yeah, measurements are tough to do. I
They
mean,
are tough.
even like as a coach taking measurements on clients, I have a hard time hitting the exact same spot.
Hmm.
Um, a couple pieces of advice are, either use like a measuring stick, or make marks on a wall somewhere, say in your basement, and stand next to that. So like you have like little pencil marks on the wall, you stand next to it, that's where the tape measure is going around. Try to
Yep,
get it as consistent as possible. So the belly button's an easy landmark, go right around the belly button.
exactly.
um, Putting
I
your,
try to use those obvious ones as well.
yeah, putting your hands down on your thighs when you're standing up tall. Put your
That's
hands
very
down
cool.
right where that long finger hits the thigh.
Hmm.
That's an easy one. But things like the bicep can be hard to do,
Very much
because
so.
if you miss a landmark by like a centimeter, it could change your measurement drastically. So um, I think with any measurement, whether it's progress pictures, the scale, body measurements, we need to look at it as a trend, right? So don't worry about what one measurement says to the measurement next month. Worry about how the trend over 3, 4, 5
Yes.
measurements is changing,
Right.
because that starts to eliminate those variables where you might have just measured a wrong spot, or maybe you flexed a little hard and almost broke the measuring tape.
Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Awesome.
What else do you have?
I think we're going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about tracking progress with, let's say, workouts. Let's say specifically workouts first. Consistency with your workouts. So it's not even, we're not going to necessarily talk about tracking progress with weight loss, but progress in our routine, right? Maybe we started out as at one workout a week, and that was difficult to do.
Hmm.
And now all of a sudden we're doing three, and we didn't even realize that this is part of our routine. Now that's a huge win,
Yeah.
and that's progress, even if you're not seeing the progress in other areas.
Yeah, you're so right. I think consistency should be your biggest goal. And so it's super measurable, and we have 100% control over it. Our body measurements, our progress pictures, our weight on the scale, we do not have control over what that number will be. We can control the factors that get us there, the factors that are going to change that, but you can't tell me that you will be this weight by this date, because you might retain water, or something might come up, whatever it might be. You have 100% control over your consistency in the kitchen and your consistency with your exercise. So consistency goals are amazing, and it's an awesome measurement of progress, like you say. If you can improve your consistency, then that's a huge marker of progress.
Like you said, consistency with nutrition. And with us at B90, we do our calendars and X's and O's, and we actually can see visually our consistency with nutrition. And I think that's also really important, is to find a way to mark it down, or to know, am I really being consistent in the kitchen? Because nutrition is definitely key.
I talk to a lot of people who will say, I actually do pretty well with my nutrition. And I think without measuring that, you would be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people feel like they do really well, and they probably do 4 days every week, 5 days some weeks, and then 1 or 2 or 3 days they're not so great, but they don't really realize, like we've talked about in the past, you go to a restaurant and you made a decent choice, but it was still probably double the calories you ate at home. And
Mm-hmm.
and all these, they're like, I eat really well, like I do really well, make good choices, but without measuring that, it's impossible to just guess that for yourself. And if you aren't making progress, then there's errors coming from somewhere.
And like you said, when people say, I think my nutrition is quite good, and then, but they're not tracking it in any way, shape, or form. I think the big thing is the random handfuls of stuff that they forget that they took, right?
And sips of
It's,
drinks, and
yeah,
whole
little things.
drinks even.
Yeah, it adds up. Like they see a couple of pretzels on the counter and this and that, and their kids' snacks, or finishing their kids' foods, and that all adds up. But because they're not looking at it as a meal, right? They don't think it counts, but in all reality, it does.
Sauces, dressings, and oils too.
Yeah. Little things.
There's that saying, we can't manage what we don't measure, and it's so true, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have one? You want me to keep going?
Well, I just want to circle back quickly, because I know we're doing how we can measure progress, and I think it's important that we talk about the scale quickly. I know it's not our main. I know it shouldn't be the end all and be all, but I think it can be a useful tool.
I agree.
I I hate for anybody to become like scale obsessed, if you want to call it that, or to let a scale dictate your day and how you feel. But I think it's important to understand why the scale changes. So one thing that's unique about our program is that we actually ask people to weigh in as frequently as possible. I say that because if you miss a weigh-in here and there, it's not a big deal. But I like people to weigh in almost every day. First thing in the morning, wake up, on empty, weigh yourself. And if you start doing this at first, it becomes frustrating, because you're like, I ate perfectly yesterday, my weight's up today, what the hell? But over time, you start to get used to this, and you start to see these trends, and you start to see that, oh, your body's just going to retain water sometimes, regardless of if I've been good or if I've been bad. There's going to be times of water retention and the times where it's really good. And I think if we can get over the day-to-day weigh-ins controlling you, the scale can be very useful, because what we'll do with those, if somebody gives us 7 weigh-ins in a week and we take an average, then no longer do those 2 or 3 days of water retention and those 1 or 2 days that are really low, those days don't even matter anymore. We're just looking at a weekly trend to see if you're making progress continuously. And if you are, then the scale can be really useful. As long as you don't step on that scale first thing in the morning, see that it went up a pound, and let it change your mindset for the day, because that's the worst thing you could allow that scale to do, because that number on the scale says nothing about you, who you are, what kind of person you are. Don't let that number control you. Just use it for data. And I know it's way easier to say that than to actually do it.
Absolutely. It's really tough at first, for sure. And we understand that. But we do it so they learn, right? Once you learn that, okay, I stepped on, now let me think, let me reflect. Okay, oh, I had a lot of salt actually right before bed, or I had a really high stress day, or I had a really, really hard workout yesterday. You start to make the connections with, maybe that's why I'm a little bit up on the scale, even though my nutrition was great, like you said, but my workout was really hard, and work was really stressful. So I'm going to retain water.
Yeah.
And we did a whole podcast on, basically, we talked about why we retain water alone, and we can go on about that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really great lesson. And I love that we do get people to weigh in often, because although it takes time, it's a great lesson to learn about why we see fluctuations, and then seeing that downward trend, if that's our goal, then at the bigger picture.
Yeah, if you can focus just on your starting weight and your current weight, then it's like, okay, regardless of all the ups and downs in between, I
Yeah.
have made this amount of progress, and that it's awesome to see that. I think most people, when they start out with us and I tell them to weigh in daily, they're like, "Are you kidding me? I can't
Hmm.
weigh in daily. That's going to drive me insane." And then I think the people who do it and do it religiously, after like a couple months of doing it, it they become much more desensitized to that scale. And I think we talk about it, we beat it into the ground in this program. We talk about it all the time. So I think it helps them as we teach them about water retention and why the scale changes. But I think it does help people in the long run once they get used to it.
Yeah, it helps them understand themselves and the way that they respond as well. So it's awesome.
Hmm. All right, that's the one that I didn't want to miss.
I like it. I want to just kind of circle back. We talked about consistency with workouts, um, but even more specifically, just getting stronger, right?
Yeah.
The huge progress with, maybe I am doing 2 workouts a week and I'm feeling good, but now I'm, instead of 8 reps of a lunge, I'm easily doing 12.
Hmm.
And that's a really big win, right? Because now I'm more functional, I feel stronger, I'm gaining muscle mass. So I think, and that can bring so much, that can bring confidence and energy and all these other things to the table, just being able to do more throughout my
Totally.
day.
Totally. And even like life things other than in
Yeah.
the gym. Like I don't get winded when I go up the stairs anymore. That's
Yeah.
huge progress. I can now run around with my grandkids way
That's
easier
big.
than I used to. Like that's
Yeah.
massive progress. Way to go. I can walk my dog twice as far as I could. Like these are huge markers of progress, right?
Yeah, it's not always about those measurements and the scale. So that's a really big one. And then I noted confidence and energy levels in this one, but that one can be on its own,
Yeah.
right? Waking up feeling like I have more energy, or I'm not getting that 2, 3 o'clock lull anymore, or I just feel better in my own skin. Those are all ways to track your progress.
Feeling better is a huge one, and it's such a broad term, like you say, to say feeling better. But so often, somebody will hit a weight plateau, and so maybe they've lost 5 pounds, maybe they've lost 25 pounds, but they hit this plateau where for like a week or maybe 2 weeks, they're not really seeing changes on the scale, and they'll be like, I'm so frustrated that the scale's not moving. And I'll ask them, how do you feel? I feel amazing, but I just wish that scale would show it. Stop your sentence right there. I feel amazing. Like that's all that matters. If you stay consistent, the rest will follow. The scale will follow along eventually. You'll break through that plateau if that's important to you. And if you want to keep grinding towards that goal, that will happen. But if you're feeling amazing in comparison to what you were feeling before, that is no progress on a scale. Progress picture, body measurement can add up to that.
Totally agree. And what you said about plateaus, I just want to make a note that, like you said, when people plateau well into their journey, they've already lost even 5, 10, 15 pounds, and now they're at a plateau. That is still progress, because
Mm,
now your body wants to plateau at a new low.
yeah,
And that's something to celebrate, right? Like, now I'm 10 pounds lighter, and this is where my body is actually happy at sitting. This is
yeah,
awesome, because now it doesn't want to go back to that. So
true.
that's also progress.
True, and that could go for your weight. That could go for your sleep, your
Strength.
nutrition,
Yeah.
your strength. Yeah, you get stuck. You can't break through a
Yeah.
new lift, but your new PR is
Significantly
20
more.
pounds heavier than your old PR, and you're
Right.
stuck there. It's not really the same as being stuck. Say you were 200 pounds when you started, now you're 180 pounds. Well, being stuck at 180 is a lot better than being stuck at 200.
Yeah.
So
Little wins.
celebrate
Yeah.
that. Pat
Exactly.
yourself on the back. You've kicked ass to get there.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. That's a really
Definitely.
great point.
I think that's most of the all ones I had. If you have any more.
No, I love that. I'm glad that you
Awesome.
mentioned the feelings because I think that's a big one. I get people mentioning that a lot. Like, I feel really good, but this isn't
Mm-hmm.
happening as much as I'd like. And our progress comes and goes in waves. Like you're going to start feeling better one week. Your weight's going to improve one week. Your strength's going to improve one week. All progress doesn't happen at the same time. Progress isn't linear. It's up and down. There's peaks and valleys. That's normal. So celebrate each progress landmark along the way. And this journey can be a lot more enjoyable than if you worry about the one factor that isn't changing for you.
So true. I love it. Do you want to hit us with a kitchen tip?
Yep.
Okay.
We talked about salads. The advice I'm going to give for this one is what I've been doing for salad dressings. Actually, a lot of
Oh, I like
people, a lot. We talked about sauces, dressings, oils, and how they can add up really quickly for calories.
Yep. Yep.
One really low calorie dressing is just balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper. I use it a lot. A lot of people would add oil to that. I won't, just because the oil is going to add quite a few calories. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to save or budget your calories for something, just doing the balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper is like such a low calorie option. You can even add lemon juice if you like. But that's one way to make salads taste good without
I like it.
100 or 200 calories of dressing.
Delicious.
Cool. Great topic tonight. I'm glad you picked that one up. So thank you guys all for listening. I hope you took something from this. If you found it helpful, make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure you let us know what you did enjoy of the episode, and also if you have any topics that you'd love to hear from us in the future. We appreciate you guys always listening and giving your feedback. It's awesome hearing from you guys after the episodes. So thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.